Coming to you live from Wind to Storm 2021 at the American Contractor stage. Check it out, American Contractor Show. All right, guys, we're back again here at the American Contractor Show booth with my good friends from McClenny, Mosley & Associates. We got Pate, Neal, and James is here. So, dude, thank you for showing up, man, and being a part of this. You guys, all of you.
Absolutely, pleasure.
Yeah, guys. So today we kind of want to talk a little bit and find out what's going on with you guys and how things are going on the claims side. And there's a lot of things going on. And Large Loss Lounge, if you guys don't follow them, check them out. We got a great show that they put on every week. Super informative, and yeah, thank you guys for being here.
Yeah, man. We got Neal, obviously our partner out of Alabama. He's really taken, I'd say, a aggressive role in the firm, and I think maybe have
Very
one
aggressive.
You're so aggressive.
Maybe one of the first lawsuits filed on a commercial claim on a
Hurricane Sally.
Yeah, Hurricane Sally.
Yep, just
Neal,
last week. So.
Yep. So that's pretty fun. We got that. Neal, go into that loss a little bit as much as you can without providing too much detail and kind of what it's been like experiencing that on Sally, on the plaintiff side.
Yeah, so I guess give a little background on myself. Before I came over to MMA, I worked with a very large national defense firm and did that for about 8 years. And when I did that work, I worked for a lot of the insurance carriers, a lot of the commercial insurance carriers like Lloyd's and Chubb, Ace, and did a lot of work with those carriers. And so it's interesting to do that and then come over and experience the first party plaintiff side, especially post Sally, because Sally, in my neck of the woods where the office is located in Fairhope, it devastated the area. It was a horrible hurricane. Even my house took a tree. My whole neighborhood was basically destroyed. We didn't have power for 4 to 5 days. So it was fun, and that was around the same time where I came to MMA. And so from there, we're handling a lot of commercial claims down in Gulf Shores and Orange Beach, a lot of residentials, North Baldwin County. And it's been fun, but I guess knowing now, dealing with a lot of those carriers is completely frustrating, and it's a headache. And it's the reason why you have to be aggressive in handling those claims, because you really have to set yourself apart as a plaintiff's lawyer who are handling first party and let the carrier know that, no, I'm not going to be some pushover. I'm not going to be some, attorney who's just going to sit here and let this file die. I'm going to be at it every day, every night being at 2 o'clock in the morning while you're in the bathroom sending emails to adjusters to get them to respond. So that's why it's necessary to be aggressive, because you just got to put yourself out there and make sure that whenever your firm's on that letterhead, on that complaint, they know that's going to be a task to respond. So it's been fun. I love it. Love these guys. I've known Pate since college. We went to college together and law school together. So
We had the single weirdest class in Alabama we took together. There's
which one?
the Russian politics class.
Oh yes, Russian-Ukrainian politics. That was Dr. Chotner. Yeah, horrible stuff. You don't even want to get in there. We don't have enough time on the podcast to talk.
No
about
chance.
That.
No, dude, that's super cool, and it's really interesting to hear your transition though.
Oh yeah.
Because we all think that. I think a lot of attorneys especially think that switching over to doing first party claim work like what you guys do is a lot easier than what other attorneys are dealing with, but in reality it's the complete opposite, huh?
Yeah, it's funny you say that. So when I was in the defense world, I always thought plaintiff's life was easier. I really did. I was like, plaintiffs haven't made, all they have to do is manage claims. They don't have to sit here and push paper, bill their hours, do their work, emails, all that fun stuff. But I will say that ever since, I made the switch from defense lawyer to plaintiff's lawyer, that the work has exponentially gotten not only harder, because it's harder really to push these cases, but it is very time consuming. And it has been an epiphany over the past, 5 to 7 months, and realizing that it isn't just, attorneys sitting back and, twiddling their thumbs. It is every day, nonstop, almost 24 hours a day, 7 days a week of just grinding, and it's tough. And it's really tough. And I didn't realize that, a year ago.
It's crazy, man. It's a crazy thing. So
yeah.
but it's good to have you on the team.
Yeah.
Seems like you're a good fit, and everyone's really excited about it. So let's talk a little bit about what's going on in the world right now with some of these old claims that are hitting right now. I mean, we haven't really gotten – I'm sure you guys haven't gotten any 2021 claims yet, right? 2021 stuff?
Yeah, some.
Yeah, we've been
Some stuff already?
For sure.
Okay.
I
wasn't
mean,
sure.
We've been working all this stuff from Superstorm Uri, which was essentially
Oh, yeah, the
Pipe breaks.
Pipe burst.
Right.
pipe burst, yeah.
So, right, I mean, it was -7 in Montgomery, like -14 in Dallas, and so we're obviously not built for that in Texas.
no.
But, no, I mean, we've been dealing with a lot of those since day one, and so this has taken up a sizable amount of time. I mean, I think everybody thought we were going to get a Q1 off after 8 straight hurricanes last year, and
It's crazy, man.
I think that we've just, I mean, yeah, it has eclipsed that, though. I mean, it's just become an astronomical undertaking so far this year, but no complaints, all good.
Do you guys think that the volume's going to be overwhelming throughout this year? That it's going to maybe, if we get another crazy hurricane season or a bunch of storms come through, like, how's that going to affect everything?
I mean, as far as on the legal side, I don't really think that the volume is going to be something that we necessarily, well, I guess let me step back. We manage it in-house just from the standpoint of, I think we've got a very good vetting process, right? And so, I mean, you can ask a lot of these gentlemen that are standing around here. I mean, we go touch our projects, we go look at them, we'll meet with your insureds, we'll actually do the work and make sure that it's a valid claim. So we don't get it's not a high volume game, right? I mean, we're not doing thousands and thousands of them, right? So I think that definitely differentiates us from other law firms, meaning that their intake and what they do is just drastically different from a marketing side. But I do think we will see kind of an apex at some point in time this year where we say, you know, what's comfortable, what's enough, how do we maintain that? Because, I mean, we're at, you know, I think we just hired our 20th attorney. We've got a little over 50 support staff. I mean, it's an army now. And, you know, running that down the streets is just very expensive. It's a lot of moving parts. And like Neal said, I mean, the misnomer is the defense counsels think that they like to bill 2,000 hours. I mean, if I got paid by the hour, I'd be rich.
Yeah,
For
no
sure.
kidding.
Right? Like, I mean, you put in 80 and 100-hour weeks every week, 52 weeks a year, right? And it never stops. So, I mean, I appreciate the claims. I appreciate the storms. But I do think a lot of the industry is going to hit kind of that apex of what they can and can't handle this year.
I think, too, from looking at a standpoint on how claims are getting paid, and, you know, you sat on that panel where the guy was talking about a particular carrier in Illinois and kind of how they were acting, and then some things we've seen in Missouri and Oklahoma where maybe they're trying different tactics to decrease risk and loss. I don't think it matters really, you know, from my standpoint, if we have big hurricanes, because they're looking at decreasing loss and decreasing exposure through various guidelines. And on the law side, it seems that these guys, you know, are kind of on the front line of battling those guidelines. And just because it's a guideline doesn't mean it's necessarily just. And that's one thing that I've enjoyed seeing is how Neal and James, you know, are very much hands-on on their losses. I got to go with James and watch him do a pretty sizable 8-figure loss recently, and that was awesome. And I've gone with Neal on some larger losses, and I've gone with Neal on a $700,000 residential with a $200,000 roof. And, you know, the one thing I like about these guys is they know their craft, and the stuff they don't know, they're smart enough to put people in place to handle that. And I think when you look and you're battling guidelines, you're battling internal adjuster education or a TPA firm, that it's important to have people that are knowledgeable and that do go out and touch these losses.
Yeah, and you guys definitely, like, sacrifice a lot to do what you guys do. I mean, I've spent a week with you guys in Lake Charles last year, and, you know, you guys were living in an RV, like, barely had any electricity. Like, we were, like, literally running generators 24/7.
Yeah, we didn't have power for 7 weeks.
There's a famous picture of James and Pate in that RV, sleeping in the same bed.
That wasn't that RV. That was actually an RV that we knocked on doors until we found a
Alabama. Room. That was only
That'll be on the
in
uncut version of the Contractor series.
No, but no, you're right. And look, I mean, the entire industry sacrifices a lot. I mean, I spent almost 200 days on the road last year, and Pate does about the same thing. Neal does about the same thing, right? And the unfortunate aspect of our business is that hurricanes don't always happen in your backyard, right? So, I give up, every morning with my daughter, every morning with my son, right? You don't get to see your wife in the evening, but they also understand that, the millions of people that we help as an industry and what we do here, I mean, it would be drastically different if we didn't. Just think about how unfair it is still.
It's so
and just think if there weren't people out there that would actually hold somebody accountable.
Yeah.
So, you travel for work, you travel for life. I mean, it just kind of is what we do. So.
No, but it's not like enjoyable in any way, shape, or form.
It's horrible.
It's horrible.
I've dry heaved in the airport in Omaha before because I did not want to get on a flight. Like I sat in there, it was just like because I knew I was going to be gone for 2 weeks.
In the famous words of James McClenny, he would say, "Welcome to the suck."
Welcome to the suck. So I sat down with a contractor a couple weeks ago, and he said, "Hey man," he goes, "how do you explain to your family that you're gone all the time?" And I said, "It just comes with the business, right? And you got to have a good partner at home. Everything else has got to be squared away." But what was funny is he said, "The reason I ask is," he goes, "I was dating this girl, and he goes, a hailstorm happened, and I told her that I had to go out of town, and she was like, cool, I'll see you in a couple weeks." He was like, literally, "I'll see you in like 8 months." Right? And that's what we do, right? We move to those parts of the country, we stay there. And so, that's that untold, that unsung, right? I mean, nobody really sees that. They see this, they see these big, trade shows and everything. We all get together, but then we all go do drastically different things. But we live on this, kind of this teeter of, home away, home away. And
there's a lot of times where I book flights and I don't necessarily book a return because I don't know when I'm going and where I'm going from there. And so I think that's a hard thing. I think she's really good about accepting this, and I've personally
she's
now.
Great.
What's that?
She's great.
She's great. Yeah, I've personally tried to be more purposeful when I am home. Like my 2021 goals, I have no financial goals, no anything other than when I'm home, be present and be there, put the phone up, do whatever, wrestle with my kids more, and like learn to relax, right? And I think when you're in the business that we're in, it can be tough because there's never a time where we don't have 15 fires to put out. But I think when you look, and Neal actually does this really well. I lived with Neal for like 2 or 3 weeks.
God bless me.
Yeah, and God bless Neal's wife, man. They fed me, washed my clothes. But I learned this from Neal. We'd get in, and it'd be the evening, and Neal would spend the evenings with his wife, and he'd put the phone down, and when she'd go to bed, he and I might pound out another 2 hours of work. But I think it's important that when you are home to be purposeful, and then when you're not home to just go out there and slay dragon after dragon and kill it every single day, because you're not there to just hang out. You're there to wake up every day, kill something, and drag it back to the cave.
Yeah. Yeah, I work with a guy, Andrew York will tell you, it's, whenever you're off work, get off the grid. But when you get to the office, you show up with a purpose and you start. So every time I show up to the office, they know I'm there. It's basically me kicking the door in and saying, let's go. So
I knew
it's 100 miles an hour.
So when we hired Pate last year, I knew I hired a good employee. So I have waterproof headphones for a reason, right? Take a shower, do a conference call, that fun stuff, right? So I'm sitting there and I'm talking to Pate and I'm like, "Are you in the shower?" And he goes, "I'm in the shower." I said, "I'm in the shower. I have to get off this phone call." I was like, I knew we were both committed, right? And so, you kind of give yourself to the industry. It's definitely there. But you have to be appreciative of the folks that are around you because everybody does it just as hard as you do.
If James calls, I know to answer because he's not like just hitting me up to chat. Like, "What's up, dude?" Yeah, like usually, typically there's something to deal with. Yeah.
No, guys, I got mad respect for you. Like, I've seen it firsthand. I know what you guys are doing out day in and day out, and it's so commendable.
Appreciate it.
So let me ask you this. What's been one of the big things that you guys are dealing with right now that's probably super frustrating in the industry that you guys wish you can change? Because you guys have a different perspective than most of us, so that's what I'd like to hear from you guys.
Yeah, I mean, our average file last year was a little over $2 million. So, I think what we see on that side of the commercial litigation, right? And so it's far more than just roofing claims at that point, right? You're doing business interruption, you're doing content, you're doing tenant relocation, you're doing 1,500 doors in a let's say like a multifamily situation, and you have to relocate all those individuals after a hurricane. So I think the biggest or the most prevalent thing we're seeing right now is that the carriers are truly behind, right? So when we went into Sally, you had to understand, so we had already been on the ground for almost snow. It was 3 months. So we had Laura, then we had Sally, then we had Delta, then we had Zeta, and we started in Hannah, and we ended at the end of the year 8 hurricanes in, right? And literally, when myself and you were talking with the adjuster on a property, I mean, they're really trying to let you know that they don't have any room, right? They're asking for requests from, let's say, like Lloyd's of London, and they're saying, hey, we're trying to get a response. Hey, I need a $10 million advance because, by the way, we're $30 million in on mitigation, and you haven't paid anything. And they say, we sent that request 7 weeks ago, and I've followed up every week since then. And I think the industry as a whole, like you said earlier, they're just kind of tapped, right? And you're not getting the same responses that you used to because, honestly, both sides are unable to keep up right now. I mean, I don't think anybody ever envisioned a world where we would say we had 14 sizable hailstorms, 2 freezes, 8 hurricanes, and all in a 12-month period, right? I mean, I remember, what was it, Hurricane Ike, and then after that, I was literally like, man, I wish it would hail today. We could really use some more work, right? Now I'm like, just please no hail.
Yeah, I could use
no
about
hail,
a quarter off with
right?
disasters. About a quarter, no disasters.
So if you have to understand, if we're saying that and we're literally telling you that we are busy, right? The carriers are astronomically overwhelmed, right? And I think that's what we're seeing across the board. I don't care if it's $100 million loss. I don't care if it's $50,000 roofs, right? I think it's synonymous right now.
So essentially, we need to learn to be more patient.
Not only patient.
I think both sides.
Okay, so I'm going to say this, and another thing I learned from Neal. Neal is aggressive on the amount of emails he sends, but I know the reason he sends them at that volume is so that they're all the time at the top of the adjuster's emails, right? So he knows if he hits them every single day or twice a day. How many times do you do it, Neal?
It's the Hartford rule. If they don't respond, you hit them 4 times in one day. Mm-hmm. And it seems like a lot. You're probably thinking, why is this guy sending these carriers 4 emails for 1 claim per day?
It looks good when you get in trial.
It's when you get on the Saturday. You get on Saturday, Sunday, you send emails, then come Monday, this adjuster's looking at 12 emails he hasn't responded. And those adjusters, those carriers have CRMs that they use. And so whenever their diaries come up on their calendar to get on your case, they open that file and they're going to see a dozen emails from me about the same thing. And so it's going to not only prompt them and, get them to do the things that I want them to do, but it's going to make sure that they have attention on that file, which is priority, which is what you want.
Yeah, that's a smart thing to do. Should contractors be doing that?
I look at it like this, right?
That's a lot.
I don't think
I'm asking the question.
I don't think too much communication is ever bad, right?
Yeah.
Because the same way with a customer, right? So if you're having an issue with an insurance company and then your customer comes to you and says, hey, why haven't you got this funded yet, right? You look bad in bad form, right? And if you don't have the information to back it up and say, I've been diligently working towards this, right? Sure, they haven't responded in 30 days, but I've emailed them 30 times.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
They've had our estimate. They've had our demand. We're on their radar. We've already produced our moisture maps. We've sent them the mitigation scope. All of that information's out there, right? So they can't say that it didn't happen.
Please confirm reception of this email.
That's everything, right? So, they can be angry with the process, and we all get angry with it, right? But the amount of information that you have when you do get down the road and you do reach that, crux or cross, and you say, today's the day that we sue, all of that information becomes paramount right then and there.
And it shows a whole different...
It's setting timelines. You want to set those timelines appropriately. So if you've got an issue where you've got the carrier has a statutory duty to respond, and you're sending emails upon emails upon emails without getting receipt on them or without them responding to it, well, then that's a problem, because you can show bad faith with that. So that's why I always like sending the emails, is to set their timelines. But I will say this as it goes to contractors. So a good thing that contractors can do in order to send those emails, to get those out, is to hire somebody like a claims manager.
Yeah.
I know it's a lot, because
No,
contractors, they don't have the time to sit there and send emails like that to carriers, or really respond to carriers. If you've got a large portfolio of business, the smartest thing any contractor can do is hire somebody to do that specific task. And you don't have to pay them that much, but you're making sure that your business is getting top priority with the claims that you're doing. But it also is doing everything from a contractor standpoint and getting everything to the carrier, because I know that you guys don't have time to get all that together.
John, is that what Balance does typically over there?
Typically, yeah. I mean, they have timelines for when their emails go out, but just like everyone else, we use a CRM as well.
Yeah.
And so everything has to go out on a certain time period. But even then, I mean, we're overwhelmed.
Right.
I mean,
Yeah.
my average supplementer has between 80 and 120 files open at a time.
Yep.
So that means that it's a
a
3-day
lot.
at a 3-day touch point. That means they can only hit 40 files a day.
Yeah.
And
That's a lot,
40
dude.
to 50
Bro,
files
that's
a
a
day.
lot.
That's a ton of
Yeah.
files a day.
That is a lot.
That is
So-
wild.
Well, you know, we've seen contractors going and like actually moving in to hire a media relations person, right? You know, better training their PMs, their project managers that are on the ground, how to have that information flow with the customer, set those proper expectations, because, you know, you can be really great at your craft, right? And then you have that one person that takes away from that because maybe they can't articulate what the actual issue is. They may be the world's greatest roofer. They're probably not the world's greatest orator. They probably don't know how to issue spot, right? You're looking at things from a 3,000-foot view. So, you know, anything that somebody can do as a company-wise in order to make sure that you can better present that evidence to your customer and to an insurance company is, I always think beneficial. So.
Yeah, for sure. Great concepts here, because that's something that we need to do better of, I think, as contractors in general. So
For sure.
Guys, I'm really excited you guys are going to be at the Storm Summit in a couple weeks.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
going to be talking about
Absolutely.
all these issues and much more, April 15th and 16th, and I think that's going to be really amazing. I really appreciate you guys coming out and doing that for sure, and being a part of that, because I think the knowledge that you guys have on a practical level is so amazing. Like, not just on the legal side, but you guys are like the full package, I feel like, a lot of times.
Appreciate
Because
it.
you guys do, I mean, James, you were a contractor. You come kind of the same background I do. Pate, you've been in this forever. Neal, I don't know about you, but I think you'll probably figure it out if you hang around with James enough.
I grew up in a construction family. And, you know, part of what I did before I came over to MMA was construction defect litigation. I tried cases across the country. So yeah, that was all I
you're
did.
in, dude.
That was it.
And that's what I love about
that's
MMA,
life.
though. You guys are truly serving this industry in a really unique capacity. So I really appreciate what you guys are doing.
We
Appreciate that.
Kind of a cool story on Neal and his construction knowledge. Recently, we were at a loss in. I mean, what town were we in, Neal?
Oh man, I've been in so many towns.
It was that little island near.
Oh
you.
yeah, Ono Island in
Ono
Alabama.
Island.
That's where it was.
So it was Neal, myself, and the contractor, and then the carrier, their contractor, and then there was a separate contractor for the stucco. And man, Neal did a pretty bang up job on shredding this guy out there in the in the
It was
field,
brutal.
and it was not just on policy or contract law, but it was also because he understood the construction aspects of the claim, and knowing the difference between like direct nail and batten system, knowing the difference in how R value affects ISO and how to get over those things when the carrier says, oh, this is a cosmetic issue, and you're like, whoa, hold on, you can't, there's not such thing as cosmetic on modified bitumen. And I think having these guys having that knowledge, being able to do that really
That's a
matters
game
to me.
changer.
Yeah.
No, and I totally agree. It's a game changer for our industry to have such knowledgeable experts that know construction, and then couple that with the laws that you guys know. You guys know all the laws, right? All of them. So
if we don't, we pretend like we do.
There you go.
Or ask questions.
no,
I'm
guys,
just messing.
I really appreciate you so much,
Yeah,
and thank you
absolutely.
for
Thanks, man.
stopping by the booth,
Yeah, John.
and for saying hey, and for sharing some knowledge with the industry. And I can't wait to see you guys in a couple weeks and share a lot more knowledge. So
Yeah,
we'll
man.
put you guys on the stage and let you guys just go at it. It's gonna be awesome. So
Sounds
Yeah,
good.
man.
thank you
Looking forward to
guys.
Appreciate
We'll
it,
see you guys
Thanks.
next time here at the booth. So see you guys soon.
See ya.
We're out.
Sit on our bar stool for.
Thanks so much for watching today's show. Make sure to like and subscribe our pages so that you can stay up to date with every episode. And by the way, this show is all about you, the American Contractor. Be sure to comment and let us know what you want to hear about and what subjects you want us to touch on. We'll be sure to include them in a future episode. Thanks again, and I hope you have a great day.